Hey weirdos, welcome back to The Weird Canadian. And today, we're talking about something that hits real close to home. The Canadian Online Streaming Act, Bill C-11. Now, if you think it only affects big tech companies or Netflix, buckle up, because it affects you and me and every single creator in this country. This isn't just a bill, it's a blueprint for how speech can be shaped in the digital age. And spoiler alert, it's not looking great. When I first heard about this bill, I noticed it wasn't just about media regulation, like it was so broad that it talked about limiting the reach of individual channels. When I first saw it, it was like, oh, we're gonna make it so that Netflix can bring in Canadian content, which is all good and well said and done. But when you actually dig into the bill, it's about like limiting what creators can even say. So what is the online streaming? This law gives the CRTC new power over online platforms, not just Netflix, but YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and by extension, creators like us. They say it's about big tech paying their fair share. But in the moment you read the bill, you realize it's more than that. It opens the door to what qualifies as Canadian and what gets prioritized or buried in your feed. Imagine that this vague requirements are applied to Canadian content. We're not clearly defining what Canadian content means. Does that mean you're a Canadian? Does that mean you're saying Canadian things? Does that mean you're talking about Canadian news? Does that mean you're active in Canada? Or does that mean you live in Canada? There's so much vague terminology in this that it's up for anybody to go out and determine what this means. So we're arbitrarily going to be silencing people to check a box. Like, that's dangerous. We want to silence the fringes, but you are not telling us what the fringes mean or who the fringes are. Under this act, user-generated content could be treated like broadcast television. The CRTC could tell platforms what content should rise to the top, and by default, what should fall. That's not supporting Canadian culture. That's micromanaging digital expression. You want to have differing opinions. I understand, like, the echo chamber that is Twitter. And I refuse to call it X. That is Twitter. Everybody sees it as this hateful hellhole. But you avoid it because you see it as a hateful hellhole, do you not? It is up for you to decide whether you engage, not the government. That should not be a government's job to determine what you engage with, what you see, what rises to the top of your feed and what falls to the bottom. It should be given based off of value, merit, real organic engagement. Like this is what these new digital media forms give you. Engagement with your shows or your channels. You can actually engage with the people talking about it. This is a different type of digital media entirely, and they want to regulate it exactly like how TV is regulated today. So basically, your content, government filtered. This act gives regulators power to pressure platforms into tweaking what content is surfaced and what isn't. That means creators making content about politics, marginalized voices, or even indie artists could get lost. Not because they're bad, but because they didn't meet a filter. And if you actually look at this filter, you need diversity, you need LGBTQ inclusivity, you need these in your content to be deemed Canadian content. Well, if I'm one creator and I'm a straight white male, I am no longer deemed a Canadian creator that is worthy of this. Like, I'm sorry I'm a one-man show and my sexuality or my race isn't factored into that, but like now my voice gets filtered out because the government gets a say? No claims, like videos just completely vanish, no warning, gone. What happens to the creators? Like, what happens to these people? The system just fades them out. Even your tone or topic could disqualify your content from reaching audiences. Maybe because I don't have a Canadian enough accent, my content doesn't go anywhere in Canada. Or I go out and host a US citizen, so therefore my content is no longer Canadian. Like, who deems these things? And what are these limitations? The government should have no say in that. And multiple experts agree, including the CIPPIC, raise concerns that the Bill C-11 sets a dangerous precedent. There's no requirement for transparency on how the CRTC will determine what's acceptable. There's also little recourse if a creator is deprioritized. No formal appeal, no process to challenge this label. Basically, I just get silenced, and I have no ability to understand why or even appeal if I think they're misguided. Like, this is my life, my business, right? So if I get silenced, I now get to live in a forest because now I can't provide for myself. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? What exactly counts as Canadian? This is the only thing I'm asking. There's no standard. It could be the creator's nationality, production location, language, or even themes. Without clarity, platforms will err on the side of caution, which means over-filtering. So if it doesn't have a moose in it, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not promoting the Canadian flag, it's gone. These are the things that you'll just have to abide by, and you get no choice. It's really not hard to see if you just look at it. This bill never clearly defines what Canadian content really is. Creators are now left guessing. Tailored content not for authenticity, but to meet this invisible checklist that we have, that's not culture. That's performance. I'm following the rules of YouTube by not showcasing my guns and talking about suicide, terms like you can't use on social media anymore, like you have to dumb it down like unaliving. Suicide is the word, and I should be able to say it. You know? Content creators have to switch up how they say things to fit these rules. And also, like, today it's about Canadian culture, but tomorrow, is it about misinformation or hate? These laws create a framework where visibility equals permission. If they don't like what you're saying, they just stop pushing it. Well, that's how you get political discourse. That's how you get change. That's how you get new knowledge. People have different perspectives, and if you have to ask for permission to have your perspective, then I don't even know how to phrase that. Like, that's just bad. You want a healthy matter of debate, and deeming things harmful or misinformed, like, who gets to classify them? The government? Okay, so what happens if the government one day just says, you know what, reality TV misinforms you, let's get rid of it? What are you gonna do? We have yet to come to a consensus on what is this or that. So how are we going to have somebody give that power? Like, we're gonna give a government the power to do that. You just saw over the last decade that power in action. And look at our shit crumble. I live in Newfoundland. I talk about Canadian politics, social system, economics. But if I don't meet one of those checklists, does that make me less Canadian? Culture isn't built by rules. It's built by people. Period. Like, I'm going to talk about Canada. I'm going to talk about global initiatives. I'm going to talk about individuals. I'm going to talk to everybody and anything because my job is to inform you. That's what I'm trying to do. I just want to give you information. I want to give you a different side of the coin, a different perspective, so that you can make the choice. I don't care if you agree with me or not. I want you to make an informed decision. This isn't just about culture. It's about control. Today, it's Canadian culture. Tomorrow, it's misinformation. This law opens the door for future governments to decide what's acceptable speech under the guise of public good. Let's bring this into perspective. In the 90s, saying gay, faggot, those types of things were commonly accepted. Now, apply those to today's standards. They're not commonly accepted, and we regard them as hate speech. And I've seen other companies use disinformation laws to go after journalists, activists, even comedians. Canada's not there yet, but that's how it starts. One filter, one blacklist, one political cycle at a time. Like, look at the United States. It took 15 years to completely ratify that fucking shit. So what can you do about it? You are not powerless. Here's what I recommend. Read the bill. I'll attach it below. Support creators. And you don't have to support me. Support other creators that you like. Just subscribe, comment, and share. It all helps us. Like, you don't have to give us money. I can't stress that enough. Just giving us your time, your engagement, or just a like and a share with your friend helps so immensely. You don't understand how immensely it does. So contact your MP. Tell them that it isn't okay, and that most importantly, speak up. Share this information. Talk about this bill. I'm gonna give all of the information I can into the description so that you guys have all of the links and information that I have. Share it. This is important. I'll leave you with this. Speech isn't free if it has to meet an algorithmic standard. This law is about shaping culture from the top down, not lifting from the bottom up. We don't need less speech. We need more voices. So speak up. Share this video. Let people know what's going on before your voice is next. I started The Weird Canadian because I wanted to have conversations that didn't meet the mainstream norm. If this bill comes into action, I might never get the chance to give my opinion, give my side, give my perspective, give my knowledge. And that's what I'm fighting for. Not just me, but for the next voice waiting to be heard. We all know that the top-down approach no longer works in our society, and that we need to start rebuilding from the bottom up. So why are we still trying to apply a top-down approach to every single standard we have in our lives? Think of that and make your voices known. I'm the Weird Canadian. Peace out.